You know when you reach that age where everyone and their mother won't shut up about their credit scores, yet it seems like no one really understands what's so special about those 3 random numbers? That's because credit scores are meaningless, unless you have Credit Karma to show you how to use them. We use those 3 random numbers, plus your financial profile, to help you find your next opportunity. Like a more rewarding credit card, a game plan that helps you pay down debt faster, or a personal loan to help you save more on interest payments each month. Cha-ching! Download Intuit Credit Karma today to get started.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 557 of Rams Up. We're going to get into my preview of the Rams-Raiders game. Hopefully you caught the round table. Ian and Paul and I covered the Raiders-Rams game pretty thoroughly. Now I'm going to give you my spin on it. We'll get to the injury report first, but since it is episode 557, I'm going to talk about a player who wore number 57. I like talking about these kind of guys, and by that I mean a linebacker, 7th round pick out of Tulsa, Chris Chamberlain, a tackling machine in college. Rams draft him in the 7th round, pick 228 overall, and he evolves into a special teams stud. Played for the Rams for 4 years. Those were not good times for the Rams, 2008 through 2011. Rams just won 12 of 64 games. Struggled quite a bit, obviously, but no fault of Chamberlain. When you can get a guy like him in the 7th round, you're doing okay. Led the team in special teams tackles in 2008 and 2009. Eventually worked himself into the rotation at linebacker, and he had some fond memories about that. Hey, go check out Jim Gemmon's article on LARams.com. It's where I'm stealing this little anecdote. Nice article, where they are now. After he had earned a spot in that defensive rotation, still played special teams, and Coach Spags told him, hey, that's Steve Spagnuolo, you can rest while you're playing defense. We need you out there on special teams. So Chris Chamberlain was doing double duty, defense and special teams, for a while there. Chris Chamberlain, our number 57 for the then St. Louis Rams. So let's get you caught up on the injury reports for both teams. We'll focus on the significant ones from Thursday's injury report. Cooper Kupp still limited. Sean McVay thinks he's trending in the right direction. Good chance he's going to play. Joseph Noteboom coming back from IR. He is eligible to return. He is limited. Now, Logan Bruss was on the previous injury report. He is now a full go. My thought is if Noteboom is good to go 100%, he might slip in there and play left guard. But if he's not 100%, it'll be Logan Bruss again. And Bruss is, as I said, ready to go. Now, McVay at his press conference clearly suggested some guys' jobs are at risk. There's going to be some changes in the starting lineup, offense and defense, I presume. And Logan Bruss is a guy you think might be at risk of losing his job, even if Noteboom isn't ready to go. Haven't heard much about Dylan McMahon. Poached him off the Eagles practice squad. And he's a guy that you think could play at the NFL level. Surprised we haven't seen him yet. Jordan Whittington still listed as limited. Sean McVay said after the game that, hey, yeah, he banged up his shoulder, but he will be available for the Sunday game, and I don't think that's changed. Whittington will play, I'm almost certain. Now, the Raiders have a long list of guys banged up. Few of them are listed as limited due to illness, so I suspect they'll be okay, good to go, maybe a little weak, maybe not 100%. One of them is one of their best players, a guy Ian talked about, cornerback Jack Jones, and also Max Crosby, clearly their best player at this point, did not practice. He is a big presence on the edge, plays defensive end for the Raiders. If he cannot go, that is a big deal, but I have a feeling he'll be ready to go. Jacoby Myers did not practice. And he's a wide receiver that normally wouldn't think too much about that. But with Davante Adams gone, that is a bigger deal. He could potentially be their number one wideout. Now, Brock Bowers, a talented rookie tight end, will surely be Aidan O'Connell's favorite target. But if Myers can't go, that is significant. Offensive guard Dylan Parham also did not practice, and second string at running back Zamir White limited with an ankle injury. Okay, Ram fans, let's get into my preview of the Week 7 game between our Rams and the Las Vegas Raiders. At SoFi Stadium, Rams coming off their bye 1-4. The Raiders not much better, 2-4. The Raiders lead this series 8 wins, 7 losses. The last time they played, that was the Baker Mayfield game. That's how I will always remember it. Rams storm back at SoFi and steal a 17-16 win. The big play, that 23-yard pass from Mayfield to Van Jefferson with 10 seconds left in the game. Memorable games, well, how about November 30th, 2014? In St. Louis, the Rams beat the Oakland Raiders 52-0. Yeah, I remember that one. Hard to believe that that was a Jeff Fisher coach team that scored 52 points. And there was also that game in Oakland in 2018, Rams 33, Raiders 13. Let's call that the Marcus Peters game. I remember well him getting into it with Raiders fans as the Rams pulled away in that game. It was Peters who had a 50-yard pick six late in the fourth quarter to kind of seal the deal. The odds, Rams favored by 6.5. I saw it at least on one side up to 7. I think 6.5 is the going rate though. Started out at 5.5, and I think maybe rumors of Cooper Kupp's imminent return may have bumped it up a little bit, or maybe it was Sharps coming in early and betting the Rams up a little bit. Not sure how often a 1-4 team is favored by 6.5 points, but there you go. Let's talk about these Raiders a little bit. 2-4, they lost to the Chargers and then beat the Ravens. Hard to believe, but yes, they did. Then they lost to the Panthers, and then they beat the Browns. And they followed that with 2 losses to the Broncos and Steelers. Back in a second with the rest of my preview. Statistically, they are the 6th worst in yards per game on offense, 293 yards, going up against a Rams D that is the 5th worst at this point by the same measure. And defensively, the Raiders are in the bottom third, a little bit better against the pass than against the run. Both of these teams are scoring under 19 points a game. And the Raiders, the worst turnover differential in the league, -10. Player stats, Gardner Minshew was completing 70% of his passes, 4 TDs and 5 interceptions, was replaced last week by Aidan O'Connell. O'Connell appears to be the starter moving forward. He's played in 3 games, 2 TDs, and 2 interceptions. Now, I'm not sure if it's just a matter of Minshew not playing well. It doesn't look like he's played that badly. Or the Raiders kind of seeing where this season is headed. Need to find out more about Aidan O'Connell, if he is a potential full-time franchise starter moving forward. Their lead rusher, Alexander Madison, 158 yards, 3.4 average, 3 TDs. He's backed up by Zamir White, who's averaging only 3.1 yards per carry. Now, White was a guy I really liked to come out of college, but hasn't really worked out too well so far. Their leading receiver is actually tight end Brock Bowers. He is really their biggest threat in the passing game. 37 catches for 384 yards and 1 TD. Now remember, Davante Adams hasn't played in a couple weeks and then just traded to the Jets. That leaves Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker to lead the way in the receiving corps. Defensively, Robert Spillane is their leading tackler, and defensive end Max Crosby, I think he's their best player at this point. 5.5 sacks. He can really wreck a game if you don't take care of him. And there's actually some rumors that maybe the Lions might be interested in Crosby with Aiden Hutchinson going down. Now, is it possible the Raiders hold Crosby back because a trade is in the works? If so, that would definitely work in the Rams' favor. Head coach Antonio Pierce. Now, he was named the interim coach last year, and then they rolled with him, gave him the job permanently heading into 2024. I've never been a big fan of that. An interim coach, things seem to be pointed in the right direction, so you give him the job. Is he really the best candidate out there? I don't know, maybe he is, but that would really surprise me. Their offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, their defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, looked across this coaching staff of theirs, and one guy I didn't know was on their staff is Rob Ryan as a senior defensive assistant. Remember, he's Rex Ryan's brother. Their departure is pretty significant. Their top two offensive weapons, Devontae Adams just recently and Josh Jacobs, left for the Packers during the offseason. Tight end Austin Hooper and cornerback Amik Robertson also headed out the door. They added defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, but he is out, had foot surgery. And of course, they added Gardner Minshew to take over, maybe as a bridge quarterback. I'm guessing a bridge to who? I don't know. 2-year deal, $25 million. He's a guy that seems to get it done when he comes off the bench. He's been playing pretty good. He's a good quarterback. Certainly not the long-term answer, though. Running back Alexander Madison, he's their leading rusher now with Jacobs gone. They also added defensive tackle John Jenkins and guard Cody Whitehair. Their offensive line is middle of the road, not a bad unit. Their 2023 draft picks now, if you told Paul Walia this was the Rams draft, he'd probably be thrilled, and I'd be okay with it too. But it hasn't really worked out that well, at least for the Raiders. Their first pick, tight end Brock Bowers out of Georgia, that was a real surprise. There are rumors that the Rams are trying to move up and grab him, and he is playing like really a future Pro Bowler, to be honest. They also drafted interior offensive lineman Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon, but he is not starting. And then they drafted Tommy Eichenberg. And let me ask you, that name, Tommy Eichenberg, you can guess what position he plays, right? You nailed it. Inside linebacker. That is just the name of an inside linebacker. Sorry. They also drafted running back Dylan Lobb out of New Hampshire. He's a guy that Paul liked. And Paul also liked the safety Trey Taylor out of Air Force and the cornerback out of Pittsburgh, M.J. Devonshire. But Lobb is a fourth stringer. M.J. Devonshire on the practice squad. Man, he looked like an impact player watching his college tape. Hasn't happened yet. So who are their key players on offense? Well, they're all gone. Actually, they have none left. Well, I guess it's Brock Bowers, really. Madison's a good running back. He'll show up once in a while out of nowhere with 130 yards rushing for whoever. So he is not a guy to sleep on. And on defense, Max Crosby, man, he is so good as a defensive end. We've already talked about him. So what are my fearsome 4 keys to the game? What do the Rams have to do to wrap up a win here? Get to 2-4. They have to get to 2-4. Well, fearsome key number 1 is end zone, baby. Find the end zone, whatever it takes. Now, with Kupp back, if he is back, he may be enough to solve that problem. Matthew Stafford, 3 TDs on the season. Now, I know everybody wants us to run the ball, run it into the end zone, and Kyren Williams usually gets it done, but we have to find a way to get that ball into the end zone through the air as well. A little bit of balance there, right? Fearsome key number 2, don't let Max Crosby wreck the game. He's the only guy in defense that is a significant threat, a guy that you have to be aware of on every down. So let's take care of him, shall we? Fearsome key number 3, hey, hang on to the ball. That's mainly meant for Kyren. No devastating turnovers, please. I have a hard time coming up with a 4th key, and I'll just roll with what I've been rolling with the past few weeks. Mix it up on offense, be a little bit creative, get the tight ends involved, a little bit of 12 personnel at times, get Blake Corum involved, 2 running back set maybe? I don't know. Just be a little bit more creative. We've had 2 weeks to prepare for this. There's no reason we can't be creative. My final word on this game, this is a seriously undermanned team the Rams are playing. A young quarterback with very few weapons, and they might be a little bit demoralized as well. There is absolutely no reason the Rams shouldn't easily take care of the Raiders. But we have been disappointed all season long, so I suspect the Rams will find a way to make it more interesting than it should be. Still, the Raiders are reeling. The Rams are desperate. I'm taking the Rams to finally explode on offense a little bit. They're going to get to the young quarterback as well. Rams 30, Raiders 13. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.